Hey guys, I'm back with some more content to spice up your Halloween viewing. Not with colour, but with terror. What you're about to witness are some of the creepiest black and white cartoons ever seen in the history of animation. These are not your typical Saturday morning cartoons, folks, and I need to warn you that this video gets a little weird. These cartoons weren't necessarily meant for children. They were meant to scare, to terrorize, and to leave audiences with a lingering feeling of unease. These shorts were created by animators with dark senses of humor, during a time when boundaries were pushed to see what was considered acceptable in what was then a relatively new medium. I'll leave out the early century abstract avant-garde animation for now, and stick to what could still barely be considered a cartoon. But again, a final warning. If you're watching this video with kids, parental discretion is advised. So, turn out the lights and let's get started. We're beginning this list with the first entry in Disney's silly Symphonies series, the 1929 short The Skeleton Dance, produced and directed by Walt Disney and animated by Iwerks, a cartoon that was banned in Denmark 2 years later for being too macabre. As the clock strikes midnight over a spooky, moonlit graveyard, 4 skeletons emerge from their grave to dance and to make music. The short is a modern film example of the medieval European concept of the danse macabre, an artistic genre of allegory of the late Middle Ages on the universality of death. The danse macabre consists of the dead, or a personification of death, summoning representatives from all walks of life to dance along to the grave. The effect is both frivolous and terrifying, and while the original imagery was meant to evoke strong emotional reactions, the skeleton dance was meant as pure comedy. Certain reviewers at the time advised parents to not show this to their children, while still admitting the short was at the time a novel undertaking and was met with universal acclaim. In 1994, The Skeleton Dance was voted number 18 of the 50 greatest cartoons of all time by members of the animation field. Bimbo was a black and white cartoon pup created by Fleischer Studios, most well known for his role in the Betty Boop cartoon series. Bimbo became a less prominent character after Betty Boop gained unexpected stardom and popularity with fans, but nevertheless for a while was the main star of Fleischer Studios' Talkatoon series, and starred in several famous cartoon shorts of the 1930s, most notably Swing You Sinners and Bimbo's Initiation, the next 2 entries in our list. Swing You Sinners was released in 1930 and became well known at the time and is still fondly remembered today for its unusually surreal, dark and abstract content. Late at night, Bimbo is seen trying to steal a chicken, and his failed attempts get him noticed by a policeman. Bimbo is followed into a haunted graveyard filled with a host of ghosts and other paranormal beings who tell him that he will be punished for his sin. Despite Bimbo begging for mercy, the ghouls taunt and torment him throughout the cartoon until he enters a dark cave where more monsters sing about his demise. Swing You Sinners is an outstanding example of the surrealism that characterized Fleischer Studios' art style, and the short has been referenced numerous times in media since its original release. 2 years later, Bimbo reappeared in Bimbo's Initiation, which also featured an early prototype of Betty Boop playing a minor role. During the opening credits, a chorus of college fraternity brothers boasts how easily they will induct Bimbo, who is happily walking down the street minding his own business before suddenly disappearing down an open manhole. Bimbo slides down a long chute into the underground clubhouse of a secret society, where the leader asks Bimbo if he would like to be a member, but Bimbo refuses and is sent through a series of dangerous trials. After each trial, the leader repeats the invitation, but Bimbo still refuses. Finally, the leader removes his costume to reveal Betty Boop, who charms Bimbo with a dance. Bimbo accepts the invitation, and the other members of the society reveal that they are also Betty. If Swing You Sinners was bad enough, the surreal, nightmarish atmosphere of Bimbo's Initiation made film historian Leonard Maltin describe it as the darkest of all the Fleischer cartoons, and it was voted number 37 of the 50 greatest cartoons of all time in the same poll mentioned earlier. These days, when we think of Tom and Jerry, we think of the iconic cat and mouse duo, but actually the original Tom and Jerry were a black and white cartoon pair produced by Van Buren Studios. Debuting in 1931, Tom and Jerry were later renamed Dick and Larry so as to avoid confusion with the cat and mouse, and the two appeared in several creepy cartoons, one of them being the 1933 classic Magic Mummy. In it, Tom and Jerry are cops out on patrol when they are notified that another mummy is in the process of being stolen from the museum. Tom and Jerry are sent out to apprehend the thief and track him to a secret lair beneath a cemetery. They witness the thief, a ghoulish wizard musician, unwrapping the mummy and forcing her to sing to his piano playing at a theater where the audience consists of the cemetery's skeletons. Tom and Jerry are compelled to break up the performance and retrieve the mummy, but not before the ensuing fight moves into the darkest corners of the lair. Magic Mummy is a loose adaptation of Trilby, a popular novel which was promoted further with the 1931 movie adaptation Svengali. In addition, Magic Mummy taps into mummy fiction, a genre that in 1932 got a major boost with the release of The Mummy. You would think that Mickey Mouse is one character who couldn't be further removed from the horror genre, and yet here he is featuring in my third consecutive list of horror cartoons, and I've saved the worst of them all for last, the particularly demented 1933 classic The Mad Doctor. The plot centers on a mad scientist who has kidnapped Pluto, and Mickey must rescue his dog before the doctor can perform his psychotic experiment, which involves cutting off Pluto's head and splicing it onto the body of a chicken. Mickey enters the doctor's spooky castle and battles his way through booby traps and animated skeletons. And just as things seem like they couldn't get any worse, our hero gets strapped onto a table to get cut open by a buzzsaw. The Mad Doctor's macabre tone was its own undoing. Many theaters refused to show it, even though Mickey Mouse was at the height of his popularity at that point, with the cartoon even being banned completely in the United Kingdom. However, the short has managed to become much more popular in recent years for the same reason it was initially banned. The Mad Doctor marks the first appearance of the title character, who would go on to make numerous cameos in later Disney productions, including several video games. The short also marks a point in the evolution of Mickey's character from a more mischievous one to an innocuous hero as the character selflessly attempts to rescue Pluto. Let's leave it there for today, but I would love to hear from you in the comments if there are any cartoons in today's list that you haven't seen yet. And also please let us know which other creepy black and white cartoons you would add to this list. As you know by now, I prefer to leave out enough details so as to not spoil anything, as I'm sure you are keen to watch some of these cartoons this spooky season. I'll be back soon with one more creepy video for you in time for Halloween, but until then, thank you as always for watching, and please like this video so that more people can be aware of these unique cartoons. Also, please keep those suggestions and requests coming, and stay tuned for more cartoon history.